Feels like just recently I did a video on D5 version 2.3, and yet here we are. D5 developers have been pretty damn busy, and now we're getting version 2.4. And I must say, after testing it out for like a week or so, I'm not disappointed. I'm pretty happy actually. And let me guide you, let me show you the features that I am personally most excited about. And we'll start with global illumination. Here we are, version 2.4, D5 render. This scene is just a testing scene that I've prepared to test out different things for this particular version. And first of them, as promised, is the star of the show, the global illumination upgrade between versions. So here, for this particular area, you used to have problems, and those problems would be that there's not enough light, not enough bounced light, not enough atmospheric light in this kind of a corridor. So you would need to really bump up the camera exposure to be able to light this, and it would destroy the scene. And you might say, well, it's hard to see without actually knowing how it used to be. And don't worry, I've got it covered. I have rendered out this scene in version 2.3 and version 2.4 just so that we can see the difference. So this is, as you probably can easily tell, let me hide myself for a second. As you can probably easily tell, this is version 2.3. And here is, there we go. And here is version 2.4, night and day difference. No other settings were changed, just the versions, right? Pretty striking difference in terms of quality, in terms of realism, and just in terms of how light behaves. Version 2.4 makes it much more natural. And I'm super excited about this. This enables us to actually use D5 for our renders, for our projects when we're doing interiors as well, because it used to be really strong for exteriors, but now it seems like it's going to be a pretty great tool for interiors as well. Now let's talk about materials. A new material type has been added in version 2.4 that enables us to simulate wax, jade, human skin. It's translucent. It's subsurface scattering material. It's basically a material where light penetrates through the outer shell of, I said, any object and scatters inside of the object, like it does in wax. So here I have a small little example. One Buddha on the left hand side in the light, the second Buddha on the right hand side in the shadow, and they currently share a custom material that is just brownish, you know, this color. So now if I show the material templates, all of them, the top one is called subsurface scattering material. So if I click it, now I can see that the Buddha on the left starts, well, first of all, it becomes a little bit lighter, and there's light that starts bouncing inside of it. And it's pretty hard to showcase it with the subsurface color being gray. So I'll just switch the subsurface color to be a little bit towards blue. Maybe something like that. Something intense. And now I can really see that areas which are pretty thin, they start getting this kind of a bluish translucency, especially the arm. I love how the arm behaves right here, right? If you want to increase this effect, you can always just increase the scattering intensity. And there's going to be even more kind of light play going on inside of the body of the Buddha. if I were to just let's move it around. Oh, it's locked. My bad. If I were to just move it somewhere here, you'll notice that now the effect is gone, and that is because there's no light. Well, the effect is still here in the bottom, but there's no light hitting the back of the Buddha right here in this area, so it's not scattering any light in the top. So this is such a big deal for me. I love subsurface scattering materials. I love jade and that kind of a material effects, and especially for like human skin, again, it's super important. So this is definitely a feature that is very much welcome, and I'm very happy about it. Alright, so for this next feature, we do need to step outside for me to show it better. So here, this is the facade of the building. Everyone say hello. Hi. And this facade needs a little bit of love. It needs some fog. And usually you play around with the fog right here, but now you can use a new type of a channel to create the fog in post, meaning in Photoshop, basically. So if I go to this render, like image render tab right here, and I choose my settings right here, under options, under channels, right? If all of the channels are ticked, now we have a new channel that is probably, yeah, the screen is being clipped. 1 second. There we go. There we go. The bottom channel is called ZDEPTH. What does it do? Well, ZDEPTH channel colors pixels in your render. It creates a new image where every pixel in the render is colored according to how far away from the camera it is. The further the pixels are away, the brighter, I think, they get, right? And you can use this information later in Photoshop to kind of superimpose that image with some blend. I'll just show you. So I'll hit the render button, and let me pause the video here. Once it's rendered, I'll show it to you in Photoshop. Okay, so here it is rendered out. The ZDEPTH map right here, as well as, let's copy it, as well as our render channel. So I'll just slap it on top in Photoshop, invert it, there we go, so that the back is white and the front is dark. With levels, I will pull in the black area until I start clipping. So Ctrl L for levels, hit OK, and take the screen. Where is the screen? Screen option, and lo and behold, you have yourselves a fog that is, you know, way overboard. So for opacity, I'll tone it down to 25%, something like that. A little bit, just a little bit, right? If you want to pull back the fog even more, and I'll show this with 100% opacity, Ctrl L and keep pushing the, you can see like that. As you're pushing in the levels, the dark levels backwards, the fog is pulling back as well, right? Just like that. There we go. And back to, did I do 25? Let's do 33% opacity. Now these stones are in the fog, right? So the it's easier to focus on the building itself. Easy as that. Easy as that. Next feature is a quality of life improvement, which lets you or enables you to plop things on other things. Plop, like just drop vertically. So for instance, if I grab my Buddha statue and I just place it, it doesn't matter where, here, right? And I kind of move it into the terrace. Let's say I want it to be, here in the terrace. Let's move into it. Whoa. Camera depth of field off for a bit, right? I could kind of spend time trying to find the correct altitude where it will kind of intersect with the terrace minimally, minimally, if that's a word, where it's going to be just placed really close or slightly above the terrace, but I will never kind of be very accurate with this. So instead, I will use the new feature. And that new feature is, I just push the Buddha up. I find it in my object browser right here. Right click on the Buddha statue and choose to drop vertically. And it just gets placed on, you know, anything that it hits on its way down. And I can show this, you know, here as well. Right click, drop vertically. Plop. Perfect placement every time. Right? So that's definitely a time saver, at least for me. Right, and this is going to be the smallest one and the last one, but the one that is near and dear to me. It's finally, when we are looking at the camera settings here, we don't just see the field of view anymore. We also see millimeters. Focal length, proper focal length. So now if I were to use a camera that I'm using right now, you know, to record this tutorial or overview video, I guess, it would be in between 18 and 55 millimeter lens. So if I were to use the same focal length as what I'm using to record this video, the thing would look like this. Not great. 55 millimeters would be closer, but here I chose to use like 90 or even 120 sometimes. In my other tutorial, previous video, I talk about the importance of using long focal length lenses to get a cinematic look of your scenes. That is quite important. This is, honestly, I'm really excited about this because now I won't need to calculate the angle, like the viewing angle right here. And I guess that's it. I guess that is that about the features. Please let me know in the comments if there are any features that you feel like are still missing from D5 that you would like to be implemented. I'm sure the developers will be looking at the comments, will be reading them, and will be and they are quite interested in hearing your opinion, right? To just make the product better. Yep, OBS crashed. Anyway, so what I was saying is that I am very happy to be sponsored by D5 because it enables me to showcase this type of a product and showcase the features that are being introduced, and I will keep doing it because at the end of the day, it's a free piece of software that enables you to create stunning visuals that are on the same level as what you would get with a software that you need to pay for. And this kind of an idea is something that I definitely can get behind, and so should you. I'll see you in the next one. Later.